Hello and welcome back to the Concept Checkup. The point of Concept Checkup is to dive into the Warframe forums, look for a community-made Warframe concept, and talk about it. For the purpose of Concept Checkup I will use my custom-built evaluating method known as AS. Without further ado, let's begin the checkup. For today's checkup we have Silk, the dancer Warframe. Silk was created by Senketsu on the Warframe forums, and has the role of support by locking down enemies. I think she's the more elegant version of Vauban, but that's irrelevant. Silk currently does not have a passive. I should mention that Silk has a ton of alternate abilities, but for the purpose of this checkup, I will limit myself to only covering her main skills. If you wish to see Silk's alternate abilities for yourself, use the link in the description below. Silk is a very squishy frame. She possesses an unnaturally high sprint speed and an above-average power capacity, at the cost of painfully low armor, health, and shield capacity. If Silk is played in high-level missions, I can imagine that she'd need a Trinity or Oberon to keep her alive. Silk's first ability is Poison Tango. Silk lashes out at target enemy and pulls herself to the target, applying a toxic proc on the enemy and making the enemy vulnerable to finisher attacks. If Poison Tango can somehow apply to bosses and assassins, Silk would really be awesome at easing the fight against enemies like the Stalker. Silk's second ability is Hiding in Plain Sight, a toggle ability. Silk creates a shroud around herself, appearing as an enemy. In her shroud, Silk gains the ability to perform stealth finishers, and deals bonus damage as long as she has her shroud up. However, if Silk is seen killing an enemy or if she touches an enemy by accident, her shroud will go away. Since it's toggled, I assume that Hiding in Plain Sight drains energy over time, making it an aggressive version of Ivara's Prowl ability. Silk's third ability is Mesmeric Dance, which is also a toggle ability. Silk becomes stationary, drawing all enemies within range towards her with her graceful dance. Enemies who are drawn and become stunned and take extra damage as long as they are stunned. Once Mesmeric Dance is finished, all stunned enemies become vulnerable to finisher attacks. Since Mesmeric Dance is affected by range mods, building for max power range would make Silk a great crowd controller, possibly rivaling Vauban himself. However, since Silk becomes stationary while she performs Mesmeric Dance, she can be killed relatively easily by any enemy not in Mesmeric Dance's range. I think this silently encourages the player to build for power range, which isn't much of a problem, as Silk is meant to be a supportive CC frame. Silk's fourth ability is Silken Steps. Silk's sleeves and bow become sentient, striking all enemies in range as Silk moves around, much like Ember's world on fire. However, Silken Steps stuns all enemies within range and also applies bleed procs. I initially considered this ability to be too strong, but then I remembered Silk's stats. While Silk has alarmingly high sprint speed, her low stats make Silk a moving target while Silken Steps is active. Because of this, Silk can't decide to be Rambo and gun down everything that moves, since she doesn't have the toughness to keep her alive by herself. Because of Silk's varied crowd control and minor stealth, she is definitely a supportive and somewhat of a stealth frame. However, since she's somehow squishier than Vauban, she might only be effective in certain situations, much like Mag. For example, if you're looking for a CC frame and you're about to do a defense mission, Vauban would certainly be the better choice, since you're defending a single target. On the other hand, if you were about to do a survival mission instead, Silk might be the optimal choice, since in survival you're constantly on the move to stay alive, unless you're sewer camping. Anyways, here are Silk's scores. Her abilities really make her sound like a fun frame to play if you want to help your team by applying procs and preventing enemies from doing anything, but her low health and shields can set her back a little. Due to that, she might need to be kept alive by constant blessings from Trinity, or from a Loki with safeguard switch, especially at high levels. All in all, I like the look of Silk, as well as her graceful lockdown theme with squishy stats to balance her out. For my personal thoughts, I'm sort of on the fence for Silk. On one side, Silk provides CC, which is almost always useful in a mission, but on the other side Silk is so squishy to the point that I'd rather take Vauban over her. The high move speed is a plus, but running isn't everything. I see the potential behind Silk, but I'm just not all the way there yet. So that's Silk's checkup. Tune in next week where I will perform a concept checkup on Enigma. Thank you for watching.